Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to our new podcast called Keep Growing.
Keep growing.
And
thumbnail.
People won't be able to see.
They will if they're watching this on YouTube.
If you're watching on the YouTube, my name's Mike.
And my name's Meg.
And we are a couple.
A couple of couples.
It's already cringy.
And we've started a podcast. Well, we technically started a podcast a few weeks ago.
That's right.
Or a month ago. But
that's right.
I feel like now we're getting serious with it. So
we're
obviously getting serious. We've bought some of the nice mics.
Yeah. And these weren't cheap. So
we're
all in.
I'm all in.
Otherwise, there's nothing left. So a bit of background. We started doing a YouTube channel, and we wanted to format it in the style of a podcast, but we would just get our microphones, we'd just use our phones, and we'd put our phones down, and we'd just use like one of our phone cameras. And we thought, this is pretty good. We were having a good time with it, weren't we? And we thought, why don't we try and turn it into something that's like a space where we can just have like a podcast, and a space where we talk about specific things to each other, for each other, specific topics, and sort of have a space just for that. So that's what this is.
Here it is, yeah. So we'll be talking about self-development. I guess in the past year, that's been our main focus, really. We're both 27, and both of us are spending time running our own businesses and being self-employed, and this year has just been a lot of forming better habits, better, I don't know, just trying to be better, trying to do better, and
a lot of self-growth. That's been over the past, we've been together for 10 years, and over the past 2 years I think we've done our most growing. They've been the most formative. They've been the most challenging, but in the good kind, in the good sense of challenges. And I feel like that we've done so much growing between us. We've gotten to a point where we feels like that we're doing like the best we've ever done in terms of our personal lives, our relationship, mental health, financial income. And we thought, well, let's
tell everyone.
A tell-all.
This is a tell-all.
a multi-million penny.
A million pennies.
Million
how much
pennies.
Is that?
10,000, is it?
Is it?
I don't know. Probably no idea. It's probably a 10 quid.
But yeah, we thought we'd start a little poddy, just documenting our different thoughts and different habits and stuff that we've been doing over the past year. That's just really been the most altering year of our lives so far. And
that's right.
Things that I personally thought would never really be things that I would do, like go in the gym consistently, or even running, or trying to be more mindful with meditation, and things that you just think are not for you.
Well, I think when we were in our early 20s, and we're both self-employed, so we run our own businesses. When we were in our early 20s, we weren't in the best habits. We lived quite a typical sort of early people in their early 20s. We were a bit bohemian, a bit laissez-faire, a bit vagabondy, think of Jack Kerouac.
Think Jack Kerouac, and that was literally us in our early 20s.
And then you sort of get to your mid-20s and you think, oh no. Things aren't great.
What now? Why is this going down a road, Jack Kerouac, going down a road that's maybe not the most healthy or positive, and I don't know, there's just so much out there now that's about being in your 20s, and it's no judgment or anything of people that are still in that phase of their life, but I feel like as we're in our late 20s now, we're in a phase of our life where we're really prioritizing ourselves and our health.
That's right. And that's not to say that I feel like that has the potential to sound quite alienating, we're past that whole, the dream has died, the bohemian lifestyle is over, but what we've actually realized is through doing all that stuff that we thought, when people used to say to the words like routine to me,
I'd be like, oh,
yeah, it would just be so off-putting.
boring, yeah.
But I think we've both realised that there's when you it's difficult because you don't want to come off as being preachy and judgmental, but we've been there, and we've been the kind of people that, we don't put a lot of thought into the future. We don't put a lot of thought into our health, physical health, mental health. We used to drink, we used to smoke, we'd take recreational drugs, and at the time we thought that was like all good. Like, it's like, oh no, we're just young and we're just living our lives and everything's exciting, and then you realize that those things really creep up and they hold you down in really subtle but powerful ways.
Totally.
To the point where you're really not. We felt like we really weren't living the best kind of lives that we could, and we weren't utilizing our full potential, and life was just sort of getting past us the whole time. And from what we've seen, especially in certain circles that we've that we've hung out with in certain areas. I'm a musician, so I in the music scene here where we live, and I guess you too in your circles, like when you've had jobs in retail and stuff.
Yeah.
The crowds that you fall into, that there can be a lot of that falling into that mentality of like, okay, well there's the 9 to 5, then there's the you live for the weekend, or you live for the holiday, and then in between that there's not much self-development or figuring out what's important to you in the long run. So people, it's like, and I include myself in this, there's like an aimlessness, there's like a passivity to life,
for sure.
And then I feel like through doing these things that we've done, through going to the gym, and through meditating, and through having voluntarily putting ourselves through challenging situations,
like having tough conversations and having like being uncomfortable with something, like, okay, why do I feel scared to talk about this, or why do I immediately feel like defensive of why something won't work for me, and just putting so many limits on yourself and so many like roadblocks, you putting up your own personal roadblocks to things that you think could make you happier, that you think you just have so many excuses,
that's it,
of why it won't work. And then I don't know, this year we've just really been like,
just cut it out, like cut that
shit out.
Life's too short, and it's like it's really easy to live under a bit of like a spell. It's like a veil of like, of just sort of being happy with, or you think you're happy with the bare minimum, or you might be really overworked or stretched very thin, or you might not be doing the things that you necessarily thought you would be doing. You might not be, or
you're just not enjoying your day to day.
And and it's, again, so we thought, over the past year or two, we've really sort of refined ourselves, and we're still doing a lot of refining. And just to bring it back to a point I was making before, it seems like there's a lot of people that you would speak to, and they'd be feeling this thing, like you might say to someone like, oh, I run my own business, and then some people might be like, oh, well, how do you do that? How did that ever happen? Or, oh, well, it's or oh, well, it's okay for some, but I don't have that. Or and it's the same.
That's great for you, but this is why these are all the reasons why that would never work for me.
And it's the same.
These are all the reasons why, like, I don't need to do that. Like, when people, I think the biggest one's going to the gym. Like, when you're like, oh, I've been like going to the gym consistently, it's like, oh, a lot of people are so quick to have reasons why they know that would never work for them. And I feel like that's okay, because I we were those people. We were those people that were like, you would see someone that would be doing quite well, or you would see someone that you'd be like, hey, they're quite inspiring, and then you would say like, well, what is it that you're doing? And then you'd ask, and they would say things like, well, like, if you want to, the idea of like getting to that place, you don't just arrive at that place. It's like, how, do you drink? And it's like, yeah. It's like, just smoke, or like, just take drugs. And it's like, yeah, of course I do. Who doesn't? And then you go, well, stop doing that. And then you go, well, hold on a minute. What's that got to do with me? So and then it's true, like, well, you're already missing the point. Like, someone's given you some advice that's to do with one area of your life. You're immediately then like conflating that and going like, well, what's that got to do with this? And then you're unable to see that how you do one area of your life is how it affects another area, and how those things all become it's
sort
like
of
a domino effect.
It's a domino effect, and it works both ways. It works in the other way as well.
So true.
So I felt that a personal not obligation, that sounds like I'm some sort of
savior complex.
yeah but
no, but we it's defo something we talk about every single day, of just things like just how we're just constantly trying to just work on ourselves, and like every day is an opportunity to like be a bit better, if you like be a bit of a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And every day we're talking about that, and this is just somewhere that we're going to be talking about it as well, which is nice.
It's good, because I feel as if that, like you say, we talk about these things, we check in with each other every day, and we're always
all day, every day, yeah,
in a helpful way, where we're always sort of challenging each other, and we're always sort of making sure that we're there for each other. And a lot of the time that can be helpful, but it can be challenging, because you sort of have to break down some of those things that you might have going on that are stopping you from being like, just the best, like the most honest, most forthright, and doing things all for the right reasons. You can get a lot of things muddled up inside with your own ego, and you and I still do. No, we're not perfect. I'm certainly not perfect, but it'd be nice to think that
nobody's perfect,
especially me. It would be nice to think that, like you say, if there's someone that can tune in, it's like, all right, well, you can join in on this conversation as well, and you might be able to think, okay, well, look, I can't. There is no perfecting life. You never like perfect it. You never become the master. You never become totally zen.
So true.
To where you're just like totally like, oh, like nothing can touch me. I feel like if you feel that way, then that's great. But I think the reality is that it's much more subtle and nuanced than that.
There's always a lesson to be learned with something, and
that's right.
The goal isn't to become like a robot where you're just the best at everything, or you just have everything under control constantly. But I think so much of what we're enjoying about our life at the minute is because we've put in this bit of a hard graft to get to this point, and it doesn't happen overnight. But people make out like it does. People make out like it's so easy to like just change your whole life in a week, or like they'll be like, oh, like do this for like 30 days and then it's done. And it's like, I don't think anything's linear like that.
No, it's just a constant. It's like, the anytime that you see anyone that like, they're truly, if I can only, an easy analogy would be like if you see a musician that you really like, and you think that they're the best, they would never call themselves the best. They'd always just say to themselves, well, I'm a student of music and I constantly learn, and I'm constantly just trying to get better, and I practice. That's another thing. It's like,
unless you're Noel Gallagher.
Why? What's his thing?
Like, they just both think they're the best.
It's like I mean, like,
Noel Gallagher?
you can there is, you can have that attitude where it's like, no, I just rock up and do it, and like that's.
Yeah.
But I think like with anything, there, you practice loads of things. Like people who practice get better, and I think that that's a good sort of like refrain, if you like, or like through point to what this is, to what life is. You have to keep showing up. You have to keep practicing. You have to keep practicing all the good stuff that you've got going on. And we're trying to do that, and it would be nice to be able to share that with people, and if we like you said, if someone is listening to one of the podcasts, and they're like, okay, there's like I might not feel like I can go and do all this stuff, but maybe I can do like maybe I can get up and go for a walk when I wasn't going to do that today, and maybe I can get out, and maybe I'll like take sight of things that like, and ground myself and be like, it's great, I can just I'm not in any pain, or I can get up and go and take a walk. And you help someone 1%, then that's still putting in something better than sort of like putting something not that great into the world for someone to then take and
or just not having a part of it. Like, I listen to so many good podcasts that like on a weekly basis are really encouraging and inspiring to me. So, and I always think, what if they decided to not do this? That would be a shame for me, because I don't get to enjoy it. Yeah. So even just having something out there, and you and me, I think over this past year, when we've put our mind to something, we have to do it. Yeah. So I guess even if no one listens to this, I think it's just good for just you and me to say that we're doing it and we're giving it a go.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah, I think
But
so.
hopefully millions will be listening to this very podcast, and it will be such an amazing community.
Well, it's always nice to feel like you connect with people, and especially when you're
Yeah.
connecting with people for the right reasons. And there's nothing better than when you see or hear something and you feel inspired and you feel. And it doesn't always have to be a big thing where it's like you hear something, you know, there's pounding music in the background, and it's like
black and white.
It's now or never.
We need to
you
do
know.
a full fake out edit of this.
There's a whole lot of funny things we've got out. Like we've got them fake sponsors that are going to be so funny to throw in there in the next couple of podcasts. But yeah,
even if it's just a seed, it's just planting a seed, isn't it? And I think that, you know, having this for us to talk about and to do, and for us to see it as this project to work on, it's so nice, the idea of people listening and getting something from it. And then we've got like I said, like a community then of like people that are doing similar things to us, or like want to, but maybe you just need some help. Like we all need help sometimes. And
yeah, and you and I are we're no exceptions to that. There will always be times where you or I, like, you know, you've not always got this perfect clarity and this perfect vision and this you know, you're like, oh, I can just so easily slip into this mindset. There's going to be a lot of times where you and I aren't in that mentality, and things where we're struggling. And
we tried to record this yesterday, and yesterday was a great example of
well,
a day when it wasn't going great for us.
Truth be told, we've tried to do this like 4 times now. We've tried to,
but that's been because of all the technicalities and stuff, like camera problems, mic problems,
problems. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
No, it's true. It was like, you know, we tried to do this yesterday, and it was like we realized it was like this.
We'd had a tough day.
Yeah, it's not you know, and but we thought, you know, we decided against it. And we thought, no, we should put one out that's like
that we're proud of.
Yeah, and that's a good like, oh, this is a good overview. Whereas I think yesterday's one, we signed off on it.
We were both so annoyed.
I was just listening back to it, and I was just having a go at everything and everyone, and like myself. I was saying, and because we were
one day we'll release it.
Yeah, that'll be the last one we release for sure.
But yeah, so we're excited to be here, and we hope that there's some people there with us.
Definitely, and there's going to be loads of things, you know, that we're talking about. So some things will be fairly.
Should we just reel off like the things that we're going to be talking
about?
Sure.
Do you want to go first?
Running.
Okay, so like health and fitness or specific.
Just run, yeah.
Just
health
running,
and fitness, or just running,
there's a lot of connotations
I ran
to running.
Londis.
And you've been running your 5Ks, which have been great.
Yeah, I've been doing my running, which is like my running club.
Yeah.
Look at me.
So that's good. So yeah, we'll be like health and fitness, and like our relationship. We'll be talking about that. You know, we've been together for 10 years, and the good and bad kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the good drug is an Eccles cake.
Oh, and a coffee.
And you know the bad ones. What else is in there? How to basically run and start your own business. Not that we're business professionals, but we do run up. We've been successfully doing that for a few years now. The
woes and the highs and lows of being self-employed.
Yeah.
And navigating that.
Social life, like what it's like to be, especially with us. You know, we I was going to use that old.
We grew up in the northwest of England.
We grew up in the northwest of England.
In really small towns.
But that's true.
It's all true.
And you know what it's like, what our culture looks like in terms of having a social life, and the sobriety, the norms of what social life looks like for people like us, and you know, and how, you know, if to potentially. This is a second thing, but then, you know, like positive habit building, how to potentially move away from some of those things. But there's going to be loads of things that we're very excited to talk to you guys about, and we'll be being interactive as well. So we'll be able to, hopefully in the future, be able to, like, you know, get people that we find inspiring on, talk to you guys in real time, and have that as a feature as part of the podcast, and just try and make this a very positive you know, a space for us and for you guys.
For anyone else. I'm excited.
I'm very excited, yeah.
Nice.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you on our next episode.
See y'all there.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.